What's good, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful episode of Andromeda. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Joey Khamis in the building. He is a virtual reality artist, Reebok shoe designer, and creator of Gravity Footwear NFTs. So, without further ado, Joey, give us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and how this whole journey started for you.
Yeah, man. So currently, like you said, my day job right now is footwear designer at Reebok. Um, I got to that point by studying industrial design at Purdue University. But, on the side, I've been dabbling into virtual reality and what that can be as like a new medium of creation, especially with 3D using Gravity Sketch, which is a software on virtual reality. Yeah, so now outside of work, I do like footwear concept art type stuff. And that kind of translated into NFTs once I discovered that. So, yeah.
So, when did you start like drawing art?
Oh man, I've always like drawn like forever since I was like a kid. Mostly just like regular drawing, painting, that kind of stuff. Took all the art classes in middle school, high school, all that kind of stuff.
So you would say it's just been something you've been doing your whole life?
All the time, yeah.
I'm assuming that you're also big into sneakers and probably fashion.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm still not really like a sneakerhead or anything like that. I never
Mm.
collected sneakers, never bought like Jordans or any of that kind of stuff. But I've always been like into sports and all that, like basketball, running,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And so once I studied industrial design in school, I found out that footwear design was like a lane within that. That was like, oh, that's cool. You can like work with athletes or other artists or creatives or just designing like that kind of stuff. And then I just kind of got obsessed with that and then just like eventually made it to Reebok. And we can talk more about that if you want to too.
Yeah. Let's talk about it now. So, what was that? The whole process of making it to Reebok, and then working with A-list celebrity Cardi B.
Yeah. So the first time I really knew that footwear design was like a thing that I could do was like sophomore year of college. One of my like professors just sent us a link to this. The Pencil Footwear Design Academy had a like a shoe design contest. You just submit like a side view sketch of a shoe, submit it in, like tell a little story about it, and then they select it from there. It's like a publicly voted like contest, kind of like March Madness bracket style. So you're going up against another person's design, and then it like dwindles down to like one winner. I never won the competition, but I did it every year, and got a little bit closer to the finish every single time. But that led me to like getting more involved in the Pencil Academy and taking some of their classes. So after school, I had an internship for like 3 months at Columbia Sportswear out in Portland.
Yeah.
And then so like once that ended, I then got back connected with the Pencil Academy, and they did a partnership with New Balance out in Boston. And so it was like this 3-week like crash course. Like you're in the building with New Balance, and you're kind of like with all these other like up and coming designers, and you're get a project. It's like a competition basically, and you have like all these people from the industry like watching you and teaching you and all that kind of stuff. And then while I was there, shortly after that, just got a call from Reebok. They had saw my Instagram, and then I interviewed with them and started out. I was like doing like an apprenticeship, so it was like a year-long internship kind of thing. And then now I'm full time ever since. It's pretty much like been a year since I've been like full time.
Oh man, that is super cool. So how did the whole Cardi B thing come about?
Yeah, so I was still an apprentice. One of the guys on my team was like he had done the previous Cardi B shoe. Mark Brousseau, who's a designer, no longer at Reebok anymore, but he was like kind of like my mentor there, like one of my mentors there at Reebok, and he had picked up that next like Cardi B project, and he like used it as an opportunity to let me design it, and he helped like guide the way and like kind of lay down the parameters of the project and let me kind of explore like creative like what the design was going to look like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was a really amazing opportunity. I mean, it was the first shoe that I got to work on at Reebok, which is crazy.
That is absolutely phenomenal. That is really, really cool. And something great to add to your young career. How old are you?
27.
27, bro. So young. And like, that is a huge stepping stone in this young career. But I want to talk about the NFTs. I want to dive deeper into Gravity Footwear. That's what this is all about. So I love your background, by the way, and I think it's going to be really interesting learning more about that store and see how you involved in this NFT space. So what I want to know is, what is Gravity Footwear? Why the name? What's its inception?
Yeah. So Gravity Footwear is like, it's a collection of these 25 unique, just like kind of futuristic or even inconceivable like footwear concept, like art type thing. I don't even know what to call them because they're not, some of them don't even look like footwear necessarily. They're just like concept art kind of things. But yeah, that started before I even knew what NFTs were. I had one of the designers I work with, Brian, he's introduced me to Gravity Sketch, which is a virtual reality 3D modeling software. And so he got me into that, and I just got like obsessed with the being able to 3D model in virtual reality. Anyway, so I just like started sketching all these concepts. Like a lot of them that you're seeing here is like, it's just stuff I was coming up with just kind of like out of nowhere, just for fun in my free time in virtual reality. And then or at the top of this year in like January, a couple of friends had kept telling me about NFTs, and they're like, "Oh, dude, like this artwork would be perfect for NFTs. Like people would love to have like collectible sneakers or shoes and stuff like that." And I was like, I had no idea what NFTs were, so it was that whole thing of like trying to figure out what that was. I was like, "Is this even real?"
Yeah, it's a learning curve behind it.
Oh yeah, so much. But then, then one of my friends just told me, he's like, "You man, you just gotta do it. Just like dive in and do it." And so I was like, okay, cool. I have all these like concepts. I might need like a few more, make it a bigger collection. But yeah, it's just like, it's kind of just like crazy, whatever idea, like just super out there ideas that were like fun, that kind of, and they fit perfectly in this whole like digital, like virtual world where like, it doesn't have to be a real shoe. The name Gravity Footwear, because of the software I was making it in, is Gravity Sketch, and all those concepts kind of like came to life from that software. But also just like the whole thing of, some of the shoes are just like, they're floating, and they have these like little like different features and stuff like that. So it's just like this whole idea of like this different world. There's no gravity, so the shoe can be whatever it wants to be and stuff like that. So that's kind of the origin of the name.
Love that. Love that, for several different reasons why I think this is really cool. For one, we're in the very, very early stages of what I believe NFTs to be. Like the 1%ers, less than 1% of the population, 0.1% almost. So right now, a lot of it is artwork. A lot of it is profile pictures. A lot of it is these mainstream things. But I do believe in the next 5 to 10 years, we will evolve into living in this metaverse where we care very much about these avatars that represent us. If you kind of look at an NFT space, profile pictures are kind of a representation of how we communicate online. So I do believe fashion is next in this NFT space. And what you have is so early and so innovative, because there's not much people doing what you're doing, if any at all. And the fact that you understood the assignment of the laws of reality, the laws of physics. There is no laws in this virtual reality world, and I could design these shoes however cool, however exotic, or however I want to. And I think that's what's so cool to me. And I want to know, what are some of your inspirations behind these designs?
Yeah, man. Sometimes I'll have like a really specific inspiration. Like a lot of the inspiration just comes from like different things in nature and stuff like that. Just like real, like just basic stuff like that kind of inspiration. But sometimes like just the nature of working in virtual reality is the inspiration. Like those tools are like so different than like, if I sketch with a pen like this, it's like I get a straight line. But if I sketch like with the pen tool and Gravity Sketch, it's like I have this floating line, and like you have all these like a lot of those, some of them are just crazy shapes just to be crazy shapes, because they were just naturally the way that I worked in Gravity Sketch, and kind of just like I would just start out with like a blob and see where it goes, and like that's how I'd end up with them. But then some of them, like I'd have like more specific, like funnier inspiration. Like there's like some they're like slides that look like the Tesla Cybertruck, and it's just like,
Yeah, I seen those. Yeah, those are dope. Those are dope.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to say first is, you actually inspired me to get a Oculus headset. After I was on the fence about getting one. And you just said something real interesting, is that a line in real life will be completely different in a line while in the virtual world. So I want to know, how much time before I even dive into like some of these particular shoes, I want to know how much time do you spend in the virtual world, and how, like, where do you see that future going in the space of design, in the space of NFTs and things of that nature?
Yeah. Sometimes I go on and off with using it a lot because sometimes it gets tiring, especially just like on literally on your eyes, having a screen up that close to your face. But so usually like at a time, I'll never use it for more than like an hour or so, and maybe like a few times a week. So I kind of plan accordingly. Like if I got to get a concept done, I'll like designate like an hour a day, and like sometimes some of these I can knock out in an hour. But if I have a more specific design in mind, with like more details, it'll take a couple sessions. I think virtual reality, it's like almost to the point where it's still not ready yet for like the like regular design process for like product and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think there's still time, and it's still like really loose and not that technical. But because of that, I think it lends itself really nicely to artists, and it's just like taking those like normal like sculpting and drawing skills to like more rapid like 3D modeling and stuff like that. And it's a very like intuitive software. Like I picked it up pretty quickly just messing around in it.
That is pretty cool. I'm excited to explore the virtual world whenever my Oculus comes in. But my favorite pair right here is this one in the bottom right. I think these are absolutely sick. And all these are completely different, entirely unique. It's really a thing of beauty and a thing of art that I'm looking at in front of me. Like, I have always been into shoes my whole entire life. So kind of looking at this and looking at, wow, this to me is what the future looks like today. I very well see in my mind Yeezy, Nike, Adidas, Reebok, everybody evolving to creating these virtual shoes. And you kind of get what I'm saying, as this metaverse becomes more massively adopted, and as more people start switching over to this virtual side of reality, I do see this being every major shoe brand and company competing for the hottest, NFT shoe drops.
Yeah, for sure, man. I could see that for sure. It's funny you point out that one on the bottom right that you like, because that was one of my favorite ones actually, because it has like a funny story behind it. Because like I'll be posting on the like a lot of the people that follow like Twitter and Instagram are such different worlds of like who follows me and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
a lot of the Instagram world is like footwear designers and a lot of like people have been in the industry for a while. And so like they start seeing all these like concepts that I'm posting like this, and they're just like, a few of them are like just getting upset that it's like it's like, oh, this isn't real footwear design. It's like it's not it's going to be a bad influence that you're just making people think design is just making pretty renderings, and it's not like showing you how to actually make a shoe properly by hand and all that stuff, which is true. But it's like that these aren't for that type of space. These are these are for a whole different world. And that last one,
Wow.
I named it Spaceship because there's been some people that have just been calling all these designs, they're just spaceships, they're not real shoes, or not. So it's like it's kind of just like a stab at that. But yeah,
That is very interesting, because I think that mindset and that's what makes early innovators early innovators. You get what I'm saying? That's before the majority comes in to see your vision. And I think this vision you have is absolutely phenomenal just looking at it. But I kind of want to dive a little bit forward, and I want to talk about the actual details of what you're trying to create within Gravity Footwear. And the first thing I looked at when I noticed is, okay, you have a collection of 25 and you're starting them off at 0.5 ETH. Can you tell me why 20, like why those numbers? What was your thought process behind that?
Part of it is just like I had like 19 of those concepts kind of done already, but they weren't like rendered out really nicely and like in like a group. And I still like had a few ideas for some more. And I was like, okay, I'll just make 25 of these and drop them at once a week. And also it was kind of just my way of getting into NFTs. I was like, I just need to make a project and just put them out and like just start listing them somewhere, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like get my feel for this space, because I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, okay, if I do like one a week for 25 weeks, that'll like be a lot amount of time to kind of slowly figure it out. So yeah, this whole like this collection of the 25 came together.
It's an experiment.
Yeah, exactly. It was basically just an experiment. And that first one I put out, it was like back in February when like the NFTs hit all the news and the mainstream and people were like talking about it. So there was a lot of like eyes on it. And that the first one I put out, someone just told me, he's like, yeah, you should just list it for like 1 ETH. Like that'll work. And I was like, really? Yeah, that's a lot. It was like 1,700 at the time or something, like in US
Yeah.
dollars. And so I put out for 1 ETH, and I put on like an auction for like a week, and it got bids, like a few bids, and within like 3 days. And I was like, okay, well that seemed like it worked out. And then like everything kind of slowed down, so I just lowered the price to everything else, like for point to like 0.5, just to like I still thought that was like a fair price and like getting the value out of it. But to shorten that answer, it was basically just an experiment to get it into NFTs.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's pretty interesting. I want to give you my perspective on how I view those things. Is the first thing about the NFT community is community to me. So what I mean by that is I think moving forward, a lot of your thought process should maybe be revolved around how do I build the biggest community around Gravity Footwear? You know what I'm saying? And I absolutely love the 25 one of ones, but maybe you drop a collection in the future where there's 8,000 pairs, and yeah, there's some exclusive rares within that. Let's say there's 1,000 number ones, because when you think about a Jordan collection, what makes it hype is that there's hundreds of thousands of people who could share that same story that, hey, I have Jordan number 11 and we camped out all night for this particular footwear. So I think I would love to see something like that in the future where multiple people in the metaverse are basically rocking your brand. And that also is going to help build as much community as possible because it's people congregating and sharing ideas and thoughts over these different things. I think this original collection should stay original, one of 125, because you already have it out and they're absolutely sick. But I just want to kind of give you some ideas of what I would want to see from this brand because this could be so much more than a one of one. When I see Gravity Footwear, I see this being Nike in the virtual world before Nike even knows what the virtual world really is.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. And yeah, I'm always open to like other people's like your perspective or your ideas or what the like how that community can build and stuff like that. Because that's what I've been thinking of for like next projects. I haven't thought of anything like that large of like scale. But I do have another project I'm working on that's like kind of similar to these concepts, but they're still like individually pretty unique, but they'll kind of the idea is, and I've posted some of them on my Instagram a little bit, just like some highlights of them, but they're kind of like in these like little, like kind of families of sneakers. It'll be like, they're like, this is like the concept version 1 and the version 2, version 3. So it's like an evolution of like one idea. And then like, maybe instead of having just one of each of those, there'd be like, like you said, a bunch of them that people could collect. And then within those, some of them are more rare.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that's the idea. I haven't thought of anything like super large scale. But yeah, that I actually have a question for you. If you like, where do you see people actually like, virtually wear in all these like different worlds, like actually like wearing it? Like, do you see them like kind of just taking the concept, like the art of it and like translating that to their avatar and like, drawing it on their own avatar, or literally taking the 3D file and like rigging it to their avatar and stuff like that?
I think it's super, super, super early. Like this is like the year 1997 almost. And the internet is we know what the internet is, but it's not massively adopted yet. For me personally, as of right now, I think it's just a cool flex. But like I said, in the next 5 to 10 years, I see clothing NFTs, shoe brand NFTs being as big as they are in the physical world. The metaverse will be a fashion heavy place of existence because the ideas also are almost unlimited, like the shoes that you're creating. And seeing somebody with a one-on-one of some shoes that look absolutely sick would be a major flex, as also seeing somebody with red bottoms in the real world, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I think it's super early. I think now it's more so just a collectible, more so just a flex. But I think as this technology continues to evolve, we'll definitely start seeing fashion. I definitely think fashion will be absolutely huge because how do you want to flex your avatar? I think that's what it's going to come down to. How do you flex the avatar? This is what your avatar is wearing, and this is your identity in this virtual space.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's the thing I'm like thinking of, like, how do you make these shoes something that like you know, like you said, if they have an avatar, they can literally say, oh, if I bought this NFT, they can do whatever they want with
Yeah.
that concept essentially. Like so right now when you buy one of my NFTs, like you get the 3D file of it. So like yeah, and I don't know like now what you can even do with that. I'm sure there's people that like you know, are more skilled in that type of space that would know like how to like import that 3D into some world or avatar and like use it. But like right now, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to do anything with it. But that's my idea is like, okay, here's like the it's not the physical version of the shoe, but it's like the actual 3D shoe, like that you can like move around and stuff. It's not just this GIF that's rotating, you know.
And like I said, it's so early. The only thing we can do right now is speculate. But what I do know, just based off of simple human behavior, is that we're spending more times on these devices every day. Every day we're spending more times on our phones. Every single day, every year that passes by, humans are getting more immersed into this metaverse. So I do know there's going to be a point of time in my prediction, next 5 to 10 years, where online fashion and design is absolutely astronomical. It's huge. And modern day giants like the Nikes and the Gucci's and all these whatever companies you want to say will be competing. And I think there'll also be a lot more new winners in this space, aka Gravity Footwear could very well be a new winner because you're early in this space. You understand it before the Reebok, before the Nike and all these big competitors right now. So I do think that the next few years within this decade is going to be absolutely mind-boggling. The year 2029 is going to look so different than the year 2021. We'll probably look back at this podcast and be like, wow, what a time in history. Seriously.
Yeah.
What a time in history. We didn't even know this existed, you know? Well, I can't wait to look back at this 10 years from now to see where Gravity Footwear is, and more so where you are as an artist being a pioneer in this space.
Yeah, man. That's one of the things is because when I was thinking about the long term future of this, and I wanted to do that like the project as an experiment, and I only wanted to do 25, and I was like, okay, well maybe those just be like maybe that'll even make them more rare if later down the line I have a larger amount of like more accessible, like lower priced like virtual footwear, and that'll like by default make those more rare because they were earlier. There's only one of each. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, well, maybe in the future, if like a community builds around that Gravity Footwear thing, and I have a bunch of other stuff out too, it's like, well, maybe I like tap back into that Gravity thing and like, you know, like those will still be the originals, but then you kind of like, if there's like a favorite design, if they're like naturally people like lean towards a favorite and that one like, you know, takes off, you know, maybe build a new collection based on that. Like you have Jordan 1, Jordan 2. It's like that one, that the Spaceship 2, whatever, that kind of thing, that like evolution of it.
Yeah, I get 100%. Like one of your current shoes having its own collection within itself and all that good stuff. So the possibilities are honestly endless on what you can do. So what I want to know is what is your personal, like, what do you have planned next as far as Gravity Footwear? What are you thinking about in the near future? What are some of your goals? Like what are you trying to do right now?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just what we've been talking about is you know, I'm not sure what the next move is for the Gravity Footwear collection. I'm working on a new collection right now. And those are going to be a little bit more like thought out and like a little bit more collectible and have more options of those. But I think the next step is honestly just like I'm super new on Twitter with design because a lot of designers we stay on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's why my following's like kind of low on Twitter. And I think the reason you probably came across mine yesterday is because OpenSea literally just started retweeting my stuff and on Instagram. And so that's what a lot of people like literally yesterday, like I sold 3 more of those Gravity Footwear concepts. So I think building more of like a solid like community and reputation in that NFT space with these designs, and then you know, taking those collections and building off of them. I guess I don't have like a strong plan now. I'm just kind of like going with the flow for now right now.
Yeah, your art is absolutely amazing, but we do know it's not all about art. It's about people finding value in that art, and more importantly, people believing in you as an artist to, you know, bring them to the promised land. But yeah, man, I think this was absolutely amazing. And we are tuning out. If you like this episode, subscribe, like, and share with a friend. Peace.